Hey guys, I'm going to be filming today a response to a video called A Chat with Carrie, which was an interview with Carrie Fletcher, or It's Way Past My Bedtime. I'm going to be responding to the parts concerning the relationship between the creator and their fan base, and less so to the bits talking about herself and her own YouTube, because it's just the bit that I feel like I can say the most about and the bit that I am the most passionate about talking about. I'm going to keep it short, but this might not be possible to keep it as short as I would like to, so bear with me. I'm going to try and keep it succinct and yeah. So the first quote I'm going to be talking about is the part where I believe it was Carrie said, I was just a fan and then decided to make YouTube videos and it went well. At gatherings, people are queuing for 2 hours to meet me. Now, this is an important thing to talk about. It's talking about the inherent divide between the fan over here and the creator. And that is unfortunately pretty inevitable. It is important to draw the line between the person who makes the content and the person who is a fan of the content, because as much as we would like to see it as an inclusive, equal community where the makers and the watchers are equal people and have the same right to an opinion and to be heard, that is not going to be always possible. And this is because of the enormous growth in the community that we've seen, particularly recently in recent years, and how it's a regular occurrence for YouTubers to have over 1 million people watching them. And just because of the size of the fan base, it's clear that it's not going to be possible for them to have equal contact with each and every one of the people who watches them. That's not going to happen. And this divide between the creator and the fan makes this kind of almost celebrity status for the person making the content, which can be very damaging to the way that they interact. And even if the YouTuber doesn't feel like they have that position of power, they talk about feeling uncomfortable with the way that this dynamic works. The fact does remain that that is in place, and that's not going to change, unfortunately. They also talked about how at Playlist they had safety barriers up to keep the fans and the creators separate, because, well, it was for safety purposes, because as a crowd the fans were insane, like chasing people down the street and camping outside their hotel. And as much as it would be nice for them to have that old style of meetups where it's sort of mingling and everyone's at an equal level, that can't happen anymore because of the sheer number of people going to these events and how many people want to meet a single person all at once. And unfortunately that old style of meetup is dying out, and I don't think we're going to see things like it for the really popular YouTubers, maybe ever again. At a point in the video, Carrie also talks about how she doesn't think she's done anything to deserve her fan base and the people who are subscribed to her. And although to an extent this is true, I mean, she hasn't done anything specifically for the purpose of gaining fans online. The one-way viewing system of a fan watching a creator, just inherently that separation of person watching, person being watched, and also the fact that with these massive fan bases, the person being watched can't connect to the individual people who watch them. And that separation creates this idolising mentality where people will see a YouTuber and they will see the version of themselves that they choose to show people, and of course that will include all of their bad bits edited out. They don't show those parts that make them human and make them a real person that we can connect to on that level. And this, with Carrie in particular, it makes her a role model. And it makes someone who is idolised and who people aspire to be like. And this makes it very important, in a sense, that they do uphold the status of perfect individual, almost. And this big sister mentality that Carrie encourages, quite rightly, and creates that support for the fans, and makes it important that she maintains that support, and that support in itself makes her worth this status, because she does provide people with something. She provides people with this person to look up to and person to talk to when they need someone to talk to, which is very important and which deserves credit. There was also discussion on the distribution of power between the fans and creators. I feel like this is a very complex thing. You can't decide this group has the power or this group has the power, because of course the fan base has power over the creators, because they're who watches their videos and watches their content and buys whatever thing they're producing, whether it be, you know, buying books or music or going to see them in shows and going to see them at events and all of these things. They are the ones who catalyse their status and their growth as a YouTube celebrity, and also as whatever they want to be, whether it be a musician or a writer or anything like that. But at the same time, the group power is just that. It belongs to the group. Individuals in the group may think, oh well, I no longer like this person, or I think this person is wrong on this issue. But those are individuals, and as a group, there will probably still be a lot of support, no matter what the creator does. So in that sense, the fans individually don't have that much power, because they can't affect the overall group, and the group is always going to be there. I mean, even in the example of with Alex Day, with the recent scandals around the YouTube community, he still has over 1 million subscribers watching his content despite all of that, and despite all the people who left his fan base. And that was a massive deal, a huge issue, and still there are so many people watching him and so many people who don't take that into account. And in that sense, the creator has a lot of power over their subscribers, because they are this idealised person, and they're the person who they look up to and respect and take advice from and take cues on how to deal with their own lives from. And that is an insane amount of power that I don't think many YouTubers appreciate or are prepared for. Lastly, it was said that a huge number of the people watching us are 14, 15 years old. Is it patronising to treat someone who's 15 any differently? This, again, is a complex issue, and I would say instead of just their age, it's important to check how mature they are as an individual, because a lot of YouTubers, not all, but a lot of them, fall into the trap of thinking this girl or this guy is a teenager, therefore is part of the fangirl group. And while, yes, as a community and as a group, as a crowd, fangirls do overtake, and it does get out of control and out of hand. But individually, they aren't that immature, and they aren't quite as young and naive as you think they are. Granted, to an extent, age is an issue, you do need to watch how you talk to them, because they are more emotionally vulnerable and they have less developed opinions and less developed views, which is important to bear in mind as an adult talking to a teenager. But at the same time, you have to bear in mind that the intelligence of their comments and questions is very important. If you treat a teenager like a child, they will respond like a child. But if you treat a teenager in a more mature way, like an adult, then they will feel like they should match up to that and will be more mature in their response, because they feel like you're treating them as an equal. And that is so important for a teenager. And I'm talking as one myself. They want to feel like they are equal to the adults they respect and they look up to. And even if they aren't quite there yet, they want that chance, you know? Does this make sense? That's just my opinions and thoughts about this video. There was also quite a bit of talk about the 401 show and what was said there, but I don't know that much about that, so I'm not gonna talk about it because I would be talking from a position of ignorance, and well, I don't have the right to talk about that or talk about my opinions on that because I haven't looked into it and I don't know that much about what happened or what was said. So I hope that was interesting for some of you. I've linked the interview in question in the description, so go and check it out. It's really good, really interesting, and let me know what you thought and anything you want to add to this in the comments below. Oh, by the way, next few weeks or so, I think about 4 or 5, maybe 6 weeks, I have GCSE exams which I should really be revising for instead of filming, so I probably won't be uploading for a bit. Just letting you know, please don't kill me if I'm not uploading. Bye. Partly because people... Really? You're really gonna start raining? Are you really? Right in the middle of my throat. Oh, well, it's stopped now. British weather, man.